Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Magic Friday. As always, I am your host, Jamie D. Grant. At the end of today's review, we are going to talk about why I only use custom decks. I know that's completely, what? What is he saying? What? I only use special decks of cards. It's crazy, but it's true. We're going to talk about it after. First, we're going to talk about an effect that let me say that Magic Friday has, I think, over 150 reviews or something over the last 6 years. I only started filming though in the last, what has it been, 2 years? I don't know, I'll have to check. Anyway, so I'm going to revisit occasionally, not often, but I'll be revisiting, it's late, I'm going to be revisiting written ones and redoing them for film. So this is one that I actually did years and years ago. And I've done at every gig since. It's another card effect. I've been doing a lot of card effects. I'm gonna have to switch that up next week. It's another card effect, but it's the one I do at working gigs. And what's funny is that I was talking earlier about how I want 10 card tricks that I can do with a borrowed deck and I don't want any gas or anything. This is not one of those tricks, but for some reason it's the one I do at every single gig. So let me show it to you. It is by Trost book. This is paper for the new kids on the block. Photos. That's how long I've had this book. Trost, and it is called, you know, it's funny, I don't even know what it's called. The Observation Test. It's my take on the Observation Test. This isn't going to be exactly the same. But you know a book is going to be awesome when it's the first effect in the book is awesome. The first one. Like page 17, and I have an effect that I've used for my entire life. Okay, what the audience sees. Everyone, I think it's time for a card trick. Is that okay? Can I show you a card trick now? Okay, perfect. Let me show you something. These right here are the most expensive deck of cards you can purchase. This is the most expensive deck of cards you can purchase. It's called Fulton's Clip Joint Playing Cards. And playing cards are a lot like comic books now, where there's a lot of people coming out with custom playing cards. It's kind of become a collecting hobby. So nowadays you can buy super fancy, awesome decks of playing cards. These are called Fulton's Clip Joint. I got them in Los Angeles. Now I'll explain to you why these are the most expensive playing cards that you can purchase. Now, and when I say expensive, I'm not talking like $1,000, more like $10 as opposed to $2. Now here's the thing. The Fulton Clip Joints are actually black, and that's what makes them so expensive, believe it or not. The faces are all different, like a normal deck of playing cards, but they say it's really hard to use black ink. It's really expensive, so that's what makes these so pricey and awesome. Now, here's the thing. Despite these cards being shuffled completely, I know the location of every single playing card. I know, it's hard to believe, but it's true. For example, I know that that bottom card is Queen of Hearts. Now, here's the amazing thing. While you were looking at that Queen of Hearts, I just switched the whole deck. You don't believe me? No, really, look, take a look. Cards are now red. Do me a favor, take a card, any card. Go ahead, anyone. That's basically it. That's basically the observation test. Another way that I'll often do it is once I'm doing the faces are all different. The backs are all black, but the faces are all different, just like a normal deck of playing cards. Now here's the thing. Don't take your eyes off my hands. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Did you take your eyes off my hands? No? I bet you I know what that last card is. Queen of Hearts. Oh, I told you not to take your eyes off my hands because I switched the deck. Oh, there's one from last week. There you go. Watch last week and you'll know what that was about. Okay, or 2 weeks ago. That's it. It's just the way that I bring a deck of cards into play for working gigs. And we're going to talk about why I always use custom decks at the end. But if I'm ever doing a card trick, it's set up to go for that. That's really... I'm trying to think of the last time I brought out a deck of cards on my own and didn't do the observation test. I don't think I have. I've done it for so long. So that's what the audience sees. How did it go? It's great. The color change is so quick. People take their eyes off the deck for a second. So sometimes I say, I've switched the deck on you, and they actually believe it. Other times I'm doing the whole magical gesture and it changes. It goes great. Sometimes if there's something red around, I always go from dark to light, by the way. So I go from a black card to a red. I'll rub it on someone's shirt or something, it changes that way. There's so many different ways of changing it to red. The difficulty, well, was that difficult? You just watched it. Did it look difficult? I don't think so. No. Difficulties, no, it's not difficult at all. Angry Bob rating. So I'm ripping through this today. I've got to head out the door. The Angry Bob rating, it was, when I did this on Friday, Angry Bob hasn't been there for a couple weeks, but I've definitely shown it to him before. I think it scooched past them. I don't think I can't remember what his initial reaction was when I first showed this to him. I mean, it is a shocker. It's kind of a slap. And the thing about this is I don't dwell on it. As you kind of just saw in that second take, I kind of went into my performance mode. I'm immediately asking them to select the card, like within seconds. I'm not, and the deck is red. Thank you. Think about that. I don't. I immediately want to deflect their mind so that I false memory them right away, because I don't. Did he Hindu shuffle? And did I actually see that? I don't want any of that. So as soon as I change it to red, bam, select a card. And I'm doing the old joke of the pick a card, any card you like. And don't get me wrong, I love hack lines. I think if you haven't used a hack line, you're not a worker. I mean, there's that whole pick one card. People are laughing. That's my goal. People are laughing. Pick a card, anyone. And they forget. They forget this whole thing, right? So, Angry Bob rating, is it going to scooch past your... Scooch? Just made this word up. Scooch past your magician friends? Meh. But it'll definitely work on spectators. Definitely. My JDG tip is... The way he says it, the way he does it in the book, is he actually brings out a separate card to start. He'll bring... Actually, I can use this blue card. So... He'll actually pretend this is red here. He would actually say, I've got a Queen of Hearts here, and he wouldn't show the he doesn't show the back until later. So he does the whole thing showing a black deck, and then he shows the red card, red Queen of Hearts, and he puts it in, and then he cuts it and he says, what did you just say? What did you just see? And everyone says, you put a red backed queen into a black deck, but of course when you show it, it's the opposite. So that's how he takes it. I just do it as a way to introduce my red deck from a black box. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. That I love it. Yeah, this book is awesome, really. Do you guys have this? Who has this? Comment below if you have it. It's fantastic. There's tons of stuff in here. I mean, and this is what I love about magic, is that this book was written... Copyright 1997. Was that when it was originally written? Thought it was older. I guess it was. But I mean, here's a book that's just full. Like, there's months of work in here. And I'm using the very first one from the book. I just love revisiting these old things and just taking a deck of cards and going through stuff, and I love it. That's why I love card magic, is there's 1,000 million different effects you can do with one deck, and with a book you've got the greatest, summer or winter of your life if you wanted to study this whole thing. I think that's what the audience saw, how it went, Angry Bob, difficulty, JDG tip. Okay, closing thoughts. Why do I only use custom decks of playing cards? And I only, if I pick these up off the floor, there's a reason specifically why I only use special decks. And I'll tell you, I used to be one of those guys that I only use red backs. I don't touch blue bikes are for idiots. I used to be one of those guys, you know, red versus blue, have t-shirts, you know, team red bicycle, team blue bicycle. I used to be one of those guys. And then I was doing Magic Friday, actually. It was years ago. And I think it was Eddie Fetcher's Be Honest, What Is It? Or Two Card Monte, you might know. And I did the trick, you know, brought the deck, did the trick. And the guy there, the spectator, looked at me and said, "Oh, where'd you buy that deck of cards?" And I was like, "Oh." And I'm like, "No, it's a real deck." "Oh yeah, sure. Where'd you buy it? Seriously, how much can I buy it for?" And it just came to me. I was like, wow, for how long have people been thinking that I've been buying this deck of cards for? It's the special deck. So if I can't borrow the deck, which is always the best case scenario, I want to beat them to the punch. So when I bring out the deck of cards, I want to answer that question before they even answer it. That's always my goal as magician, is to deflect questions before they enter their head, to leave their head free of questions. I don't want them to have any questions. So I talk about how this is the most expensive deck of cards. And I talk about it so they understand where I got it. And you know, whether it's Brad Fulton's deck, or you know, if I'm using David Blaine's deck or what have you, I'll say the same thing every time. You know, this is the most expensive deck of playing cards. This is a deck from my friend David Blaine that he made, and I'll, you know, do it that way. And it just beats them to the question of, oh, I wonder where he got it. And I also think that if I'm introducing a special deck of cards, they're going to think, well, there's no way it's a trick deck, or he wouldn't have mentioned it. That's what I think they think. If I had a special deck of cards, I'm not going to say I bought this special trick deck of cards from David Blaine. I'd like to show you something. If I say I bought a deck of cards for my friend David, they're going to think it's just a real deck and that he's my friend. And that if I bought this from Brad Fulton, that Brad Fulton's an artist, and I'm proud of my collector's playing cards. It has nothing to do with them being a trick deck. That said, if I didn't have any of these things and I wanted to use only red bikes or blue bikes, I beat them to the punch still with mentioning where I got them. So if I had a deck of red bicycles, I would I'd bring them out and I'd say, what I'm doing is I'm just making up a story to just tell them where I got them. And I'd say, let me show you a card trick. Is it time for a card trick? I think it is. Let me show you. Oh my gosh. I just got these on the way here. I bought them at London Drugs. And the lady at the till asked me if I knew how to play hearts. And I don't know if she meant card hearts or something else. Here, let me show you this. I want to just throw that in their head of, oh, he just got them, without ever saying, here's my regular deck of bicycle playing cards. Let me show you a trick. I'm just doing a little asides, just little. I was at Walmart today. I almost got trampled. I had to buy the last deck of playing. Whatever. That said, which I already said, so that said again, I like custom playing cards because it makes it interesting. People kind of want to talk about collecting and, you know, oh, I've got a stamp collection or what have you. Like, it's just an interesting little thing. There's nothing wrong with having custom playing cards and doing magic with Mickey Mouse. I was at Disneyland and I just got these for my daughter. I came out. I personally believe it just helps the assumption that that's got to be a regular deck, because he wouldn't have brought attention to it if it was a trick. So I only use custom decks, and it also allows me to buy custom decks because I love playing cards and I get to use them. And it's cool sitting on the table. You know, people have never seen a Dayglow green deck of cards before. It's neat. That's it. That's all I got for you. I have to go. I'm late. Happy Magic Friday. I will see you next week.